get onto our backs and just get yourself in a nice, comfortable, neutral position. And have a little think about where all the parts of your back have got all the tension build up, or what parts are making contact with the mat. We're going to have a nice little arch through the low part of your back. So even if your back is touching the mat in the low part of your back, you want it to be sort of not putting too much pressure through there. So there is the sensation that there is a little bit of an arch going on through the low part of your back there. Okay, just from here, roll your pelvis, so tilt your hips all the way up towards you, flatten your back down into the mat, and then roll your hips all the way away from you, so you're arching up through your back. And we're just going to roll through the low back, let it flatten against the mat, and then roll your hips away, let it lift. There we go, let it arch. Good. Tilt it all the way back. Don't lift your hips or your bottom off of the mat, just roll your pelvis backwards. That's it. And then roll it away from you. Lift through the spine a little bit. Roll it all the way up towards you. Each time you're doing it, just see if you can get a little bit more movement. And we're just making sure the knees are staying facing the ceiling. There we go. Just roll all the way up towards you. Once you've got as far back as you can, you've got a little bit of a switch on of your glutes. And then release your glutes all the way as you tilt it back to neutral. There we go. Tilt it all the way up and squeeze. And then release it all the way through and tilt through the hips. There we go. Last one, tilt all the way up. And then come back and find that midpoint between all the way tilted one way and all the way tilted the other. Find that position halfway through. And hopefully now you've got that sensation that the low part of your back is not making contact with that too much. There we go. And just lift through there. Good. Find yourself a nice comfortable position. And what we're going to do is, as you breathe out, lengthen one leg away. And as you breathe in, draw it back up with the other leg. Breathe out as you lengthen one leg away. Breathe in as it comes back up. Keep going like that. Ooh. There we go. Keep going. Keep going. Just breathe. There we go. So that's it. There we go. Breathe out to lengthen away. Breathe in to draw back up. There we go. Breathe out, lengthen away. Breathe in as it draws back up. Keep going. When you feel happy, take the foot so it's not making contact with the mat, so it's literally hovering above the mat, and you're really lengthening that leg away and drawing it back up. Good. And then we're going to bring the arms in, so it's opposite arm to opposite leg. Whichever leg's stretching away, the opposite arm's going to reach all the way to behind the wall behind you and draw back in. There we go. Breathe out, blow everything away so it's stretching and reaching, and breathe in as it comes back. Breathe out, lengthen, and breathe in as it comes back. Good. Keep maintaining that little arch through your back. There we go. Breathe out, lengthen, and breathe in, come back. Breathe out and lengthen. Breathe in as you come back. One more on each side. Breathe out, really stretch. Maintain that little arch through your back the whole way through. There we go. Fantastic. And come back to that neutral position now. So your feet are hip width apart. And from here, we're just going to drop one knee out towards the side and bring it back into the center. Opposite side. Breathe out, drop the knee down towards the floor, and breathe in, bring it up to the center. Breathe out, drop one knee down, and breathe in, come to the center. Now put the hands on the front of the pelvis, because as you drop your hip out, we don't want the pelvis to be following with you. It's all happening in that ball and socket joint of your hip. And you might notice that one side drops a little bit further than the other. That's fine. And you don't need to be switching on through your glutes for this one. Just let gravity draw the knee down, and then think about drawing in a little bit tighter with your tummy as you draw the leg back up. Breathe out as it goes down. Breathe in as it comes back up. Good. Breathe out as it goes down. Breathe in as it comes back up. One more on each side like that. Breathe out to go down. Breathe in, back up. Breathe out to go down. Breathe in to come back up. Okay, so now we're just going to get a bit more movement through the hip. As you breathe out, you drop that knee down. Here, bring your hip away from the midline. Lengthen your leg out. Bring it into the midline and draw it back up to position. So opposite side, if I show you from here, we are going to drop the knee out, take it out, draw that circle round, and draw it back in. Hopefully you can kind of see that. So we drop the knee out, bring the foot away from the midline, draw that circle round, scoop it back up to start. Opposite side, breathe out, drop the knee down, bring the heel away from the midline, scoop it all the way around, drawing a semicircle with your heel, and draw it back in again. Breathe out, drop the knee down, circle it round, lengthen the leg and scoop it back up again. A couple more on each side, drop it down, circle it round, lengthen the leg, draw it back up. Fantastic. Breathe out, drop the knee down, circle it round, lengthen, draw it back up. Drop it down, circle it round, lengthen, draw back up. Perfect. Good. Keep your feet and knees together this time. So draw them close to each other, and we're going to rotate up through the spine. So we're just moving the movement up through the back now. Breathe out, drop both knees down to one side, and breathe in as you come back up. Now the movement happens through your pelvis. We've done this one lots of times before, but it's quite an important one. Think about pushing your hip down onto the mat, and the pushing of the hip down will start to activate through those abdominals there. So breathe out, go to the opposite side, drop the knees down, just let the hip raise. That's as far as we're going to go. On the back, and push the hip down, and pushing your hip down is going to start drawing your abdominals in. There we go. A few more. Breathe out as the knees drop down. Breathe in, push your hip down, draw the knees back up. Good. Breathe out, drop those knees down. Breathe in, draw the hip back up, really start to engage. You should really feel like there's a band across the front of your hips, and as you're drawing the knees back up, that band is going down flat and tight, almost like you're pushing your hips apart. Okay, think about that, sort of really drawing with the top hip to draw the bottom hip back up again. Good. Breathe out, drop the knees down. Use that top hip to draw all the way back up again. Good. Breathe out, drop the knees down. Breathe in, draw nice and flat, draw the legs back up. Good. Breathe out, drop the knees down. This time, as you go down, allow the waist and the ribs to come up as well. And on the way back, work in order. Ribs go down. Think of placing your shoulder blade and your ribs down. Then the waist comes up, then the hips start to roll. Good. Breathe out, go the other side. Breathe out as the knees drop down. Let the hips start to raise. Let the waist start to raise. Let the ribs raise. And then place back down. Place the ribs down. Draw the waist in. Really push the hip down. Work through your abs. So the whole way through this exercise, the legs are completely passive. They're not really doing any work at all. Knees drop down. Hip goes up. Waist comes up. Ribs in the right order. Place the ribs down so you can work by pushing your shoulder blade down, push the ribs down, work through your waist, work through your hips, and draw back up to center. Good. Breathe out, knees drop down, hip comes up, waist comes up, ribs come up. There we go. Place the ribs back down, place the waist. Really work through the hips and draw back up to center. Stop when you get to center now. Let your legs rest there. Bring your feet so they are hip width apart now. And let's start working in the other plane of movement. So we're going to lift up into our shoulder bridge. Tilt your pelvis back towards you. Squeeze through your glutes when your back's nice and flat against the mat. Squeeze through the glutes and peel your spine up and away from the mat. One by one, place each of the bones back down in order. Keep your bottom nice and high as you roll through the spine. Don't let your bottom go onto the mat until you've got that lowest vertebra making contact. If your back's feeling quite tight, we're going to need to do a few of these just to ease it off and see if we can control that movement. So tilt back, squeeze through your glutes, peel all the way up, nice and light through your feet so there's no pressure onto the mat. And then one by one, place each of those bones back down onto the mat. Really curl through the lower part of your back, through all the way until that lowest vertebra just makes an effort to get onto the mat. Might be easy for you, but a lot of us are going to struggle to get that lowest vertebra down. Here we go. Let's do two more. Roll the hips back. Once you've gone as far as you can with the hip roll, squeeze with your bottom. The hips and your bottom muscles are doing the work to peel you away from the mat. One by one, we're peeling up. And then one by one, placing each of those bones back down onto the mat in order. Keep your bottom high, try and get that last vertebra onto the mat, and then roll through the hips. There we go, last one. Let's just see if we can just lift an extra vertebra this time. So tilt back, squeeze through your bottom, peel through the hips, peel yourself up one by one. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. and then one by one, all the way back down again. Rotate through the low back. There we go, control. Release through the hips, tilt back to neutral. There we go. Let's bring knees in towards your chest. So hug your knees in and just rock. Just roll through the spine, forwards, backwards. And we're just creating that rocking movement. Just release through the low back. Keep hold of your legs, so you're going around the back of your thighs and your knees just fold over the top of your arms. So from here, we're going to breathe out and lengthen the legs up towards the ceiling, and breathe in, draw them back down. Good. Breathe out, lengthen. Breathe in, draw them back down. Good. Breathe out, lengthen. Breathe in as they come down. Try and get a bit more of a stretch each time, really stretching up towards the ceiling and releasing them back down again. Good. Breathe out, lengthen. Breathe in, draw them back down. Good. Just try and get a bit extra stretch. If you've got tight hamstrings like me, you're going to get a little bit of a shake at the top, but that's fine. We're getting there. Getting a little bit more stretch each time. Fantastic. Good. This time, when the knees have bent down, you're going to keep hold of the back of one knee, and with the other leg, so you're going to keep that leg, let's try and keep it straight actually, and with the other leg you're going to lengthen it and then see if you can lower it down towards the floor. So keep working strong with your abs and then draw the other leg back up again. Okay, keep those abs nice and tight. So as you lower that leg, it's going to feel like your lumbar or your low back wants to tilt. So you've got to work really hard with your abs to stabilize and then draw this leg back up again. If you feel your pelvis starts to tilt when you've got your leg sort of halfway down, then that's as far as you go. You've got to stay within the realm of movement or pelvis neutral position. So don't hips start to roll. Don't let your low back or that arch start to get any bigger as you lower your leg down towards the floor. Let's breathe out as you lower the leg down. Breathe in as it draws back up. Keep that shape in your back the same the whole way through. Breathe out, lower down. We can feel those abs switching on as you're lowering it down. Breathe in as it comes back up. Breathe out, lower down. Really control that low back. Lovely. Good. Breathe out, lower down. Good. Breathe in as you come back up. And then gently swap to the other side. So grab hold of the back of the other knee and we're going on to the other side. So breathe out, lower down. Try and keep the leg nice and straight, the one that you're lowering, and breathe in as it comes back up. Good. And remember, we're just maintaining that curve in your low back so that there's no arching happening. There we go. Good. Breathe out, lower it down. Movement. Breathe in as it comes back up. Okay. Feel those abs start to switch on. The lower the leg goes down, the more your abs start to switch on. Keep them switched on as you draw the leg back up. They'll just ease off a little bit as the leg comes up to the top. And then feel them start to switch on as you lower that leg down again, keeping that back in that nice neutral position and drawing the leg back up again. Good. Breathe out, lower the leg down. And breathe in as we draw back up. Good. Breathe out, lower it down. Last one on this side. Breathe in, draw it back up. Okay, pop your feet down. Let's just go into a full body stretch just to open up through the hip flexors. And then we're going back into that exercise, but we're going to create a little bit more of a challenge. So lengthen your legs away from you, lengthen your arms away from you. Maybe push your heels away so you get that stretch through the back of your legs as well. See what feels good for you. You'll know what stretch is the best one at the moment. So push your heels away, push your toes away, maybe even just circle your ankles. Do whatever you need to do. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back into this position. So we're going to come back to holding, bring your legs up to coffee table, put your arms around the back of one leg. This time we're going to lengthen the leg up towards the ceiling. So the other leg goes up towards the ceiling. You lower it down towards the floor. From here, we're going to sweep it out towards the side. So now we're switching on the muscles in the side of your pelvis here, and then sweep it back to the center, draw it all the way back up again. Here we go. You lower it down, watching that curve in your back, squeeze through your pelvis, and then release it back to center and draw it all the way back up again. Okay, now if you feel your pelvis starts to rotate, you can get to here and then take the leg out and draw it back up. So work with where you're comfortable and where your back is not arching. There we go, switch it on, sweep out, draw it back up. Now what you're going to feel is, as you start to sweep the leg out towards the side, you might feel the leg you're holding is trying to push to the opposite side. Try and control that. So if you do let that drop out, what happens is the muscle doesn't work so hard here. So keep that other leg in that neutral, well, that starting position, and make this leg work as it sweeps out. Draw it back in, lift it up. Let's do a few more on this side. So lower it down, sweep it out, draw it back in, lift it up. Fantastic, good. Keep checking in with your low back. Lots of things to think about, but most important, keeping the spine in neutral. There we go. Let's finish this one up. Perfect. Drop that leg down, take your hands around that thigh. Other leg goes up towards the ceiling. Just check your pelvis is in that nice neutral position before you start, and lengthen the leg away. Sweep it out towards the side. Go as wide as you can, switch those muscles on. Try and keep your foot in a nice straight line as you're taking it out. And remember, like I say, if you're only dropping your leg halfway down and taking it out, then that is absolutely fine as well. Just work with what you are comfortable with. Making sure we're checking in with the low back. Squeezing the outside of your pelvis muscle as you draw your leg out towards the side. There we go. So we're going to squeeze through the pelvis, drawing it out. Really trying to control through my abs and pelvis to make sure it stays in neutral. There we go. So getting a nice big movement through the hip here. Lengthen that leg up. That's it. Lower it down. Sweep it out. Sweep it back in. Draw it up. There we go. Lower it down. Sweep it out. Draw it back in and scoop it back up again. Good. Breathe out. Sweep it out. Draw it back in. Last one. There we go. Hug your knees in or straighten your legs out. Do whatever you need to do. You might want to just circle the knees around a little bit in a circle here. Or you might feel that you need a full body stretch or a little bit of both. Treat yourself. There we go. Stretch out. Okay. So next, we're going to go into a semi-seated position. So bring yourselves up and then elbows come back down onto the mat. So hands are facing forward, your hips. First of all, what you need to watch for this one is the positioning of your neck. Make sure you're not sort of poking your chin too far forwards, but you're also not letting your head drop too far back. Your neck needs to be in line with your spine. So you're kind of looking up to the corner of your room, okay? If your neck starts to hurt too much at any point when we do these exercises, just lie yourself back down. You can do all of these exercises on your back. We're just trying to create a little bit more engagement through the abs by bringing you up into this semi-sitting position. Okay, so we're going to breathe out, drop the knees down first of all, and breathe in, draw them back up again. Breathe out, drop them down. Breathe in, bring them back up. Good. Breathe out, drop them down. And breathe in, bring them back up. So we're just monitoring the movement that we can get through the low back at the minute. So you'll realize that it's a little bit more restricted to what it was when we did this as part of the warm-up. But what we're going to do is add a little bit more challenge. So as you drop your knees over, the top leg, as it would be, is going to come off and straighten up. So we're getting a little bit more connection going on through the abs. Draw it back in as you come back to neutral. Drop the knees off towards the other side. As you do that, lift that leg and lengthen. Draw it in as you return back to the center. Good. Breathe out. Drop the knees down. Lift the leg up and stretch. Draw it back in. Return back to center. There we go. Breathe out. Drop it down. Lift. There we go. A few more. Check in with your neck. You'll feel your shoulders working a little bit. And we're trying to open up through the shoulders. So just watch you don't sink through the middle. Lift your chest so that we're getting that stretch through the front of your chest. There we go. And that way the shoulders are starting to work as well. There we go. One more on each side. Breathe out, drop it down. Lift the leg. Sweep it back in as it rolls over. Drop the knees down. Lift. And then draw back to center. Perfect. Okay. So now we are going to do breathe out, drop Draw the leg in towards the center. I want you to really think about squeezing through the abs, lengthen it out, draw it back in, place it back down. Good. Open through the chest. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Breathe. Breathe in, breathe out, lengthen it away. Breathe in, draw it back up. There we go. We're just working through. There we go. This is the prep. So hopefully keeping the pelvis nice and level. It's not rocking and rolling all over the place. If your neck's starting to get tight, recheck it's in the right position. If it's still tightening up, just lie yourself down. We'll get used to this position the more you practice it. The tension needs to come through your shoulders and not through your neck. If you're still with me in this position, we're continuing. You're going to leave one leg in coffee table. We're going to switch them over into scissors. So as you take one leg down, the other leg comes up. There we go. Breathe in as you lift one leg up. Breathe out as you lift the other leg up. They are switching. So our abs are working. Chest is open. Keep breathing. Don't hold your breath. Your abs are now working. Hip flexors will be a little bit activated, but try to make sure it's working more through your abs. Keep lifting through the chest. Watch you haven't collapsed onto the mat. This is going to challenge the abs in a very different way to this. Okay, good. There we go. Switching through. Perfect. If you're still with me and it's not hurting too much, we're going to stretch the legs out instead. So we're going to lengthen one leg out, draw it back in as we lengthen the other leg out. So we're scissoring and stretching. There we go. If this is too much, take a break. Take yourself into a stretch at any time you need to. There shouldn't be any pain going on through your back. Blow a leg away. Breathe it back in. Breathe it away. There we go. Lift your chin up towards the ceiling. Whew, that's starting to smart now. So we're just going to finish up. One more on each side. There we go. And just take yourself into whatever stretch you feel you need. Whew. Okay, circle the knees around if you need to. There we go, and other direction. And we'll just open up. So we've done a lot of work in flexion. We just need to open up through the back. So what we'll do, let's go back into our shoulder bridges just to open up through the spine again. Get yourself nice and relaxed onto the mat. What we'll do this time though is we'll bring the arms in as well so that we're getting the full body to work. So let's just do one shoulder bridge to prep first of all. So tilt your hips back, squeeze through your glutes and peel yourself up and away from the mat. Might feel a little bit tight where we've just done that exercise. So that's why we're just going to prep the first one and then roll yourself back down one by one. Place each of those bones back down. Really keep your hips high as you work through that lowest vertebra, placing the spine back down, tilt back to neutral. Here we go. This time, peel yourself back, squeeze through the glutes and peel yourself up into that neutral position, into that shoulder bridge position. Hold it, bring your arms up, over behind your head onto the floor. And this time, as you bring your spine down, let your arms circle round along the floor at the same time. So your arms want to finish up by your side at exactly the same time as your pelvis makes it onto the mat, and tilt back to neutral once you've finished. So we tilt back through the hips, squeeze through the glutes and peel your spine all the way up and away from the mat. Come up into that shoulder bridge position. From there, arms go up over your head, onto the floor behind you, and you start to circle your arms around. Really push out towards your fingertips as you roll through the spine. Try and imagine your hands are coming down at the same rate as the vertebrae. And when the lowest vertebrae makes contact, that's when your hands rest at your side. And from there, release your bottom and tilt back to neutral. That's an important bit as well. Make sure you always start by coming back to neutral so that you've still got that time at the beginning to roll your hips back, squeeze through your glutes, peel yourself up one by one. There we go, nice and high. Really squeeze through the glutes. Arms come back over the top of your head. And then start to circle your arms round. As they circle around, place the spine back down again, one by one. Control it down and round. Keep your hips tucked under until that last vertebra makes contact. And we come back. Let's do the last one. Tilt your hips back, squeeze through your glutes, peel yourself up. Should be getting easier now. There we go, a bit more movement. Take your arms back and then start to circle the arms round as you control your spine back down towards the mat. There we go, control it, control it, control it. Release through the glutes and come back to that neutral position. Fantastic. Good. Let's pop you over onto your side again. Again, onto your side. Okay. So I want you up on your elbow for this one. Now, I know not everybody's very comfortable with this one, so we're going to we'll do a little bit on here. If it is too much, this is the only bit onto the elbows. We will pop you down afterwards. So for this one, we want the spine nice and straight. So make sure your knees aren't too tucked forward. Really push the hips forward, squeeze through your glutes. We're going to try and activate this muscle at the lowest part here. So it's kind of like your corset muscles here. So your obliques are the ones that we're working. And I want you to think about squeezing them up and then releasing them down. What you're not doing is pushing through your shoulder. That's where the pain's going to come if you start using your shoulder to do the work. You're also not rocking your hips. What you're doing is imagine someone's got a rope around your lower part of your ribs and they're pulling you up. As they pull you up, it's pulling your ribs tight, lifting you up and then lowering you back down again. Good. Work through your abdominals and your waist muscles to lift and then lower back down again. If you need to, we can bring the arm up. That will help you get that movement through there and then loosen back down again. Good. Lift, squeeze through your waist, draw your tummy button towards your spine at the same time. Everything's getting really tight around there and then just release it as it comes back down. Good. We'll do a nice breath in as you come up and over. And breathe out as you come down. Now, if you've done this one with me a few times and you feel you're getting strong at it, you can come all the way up. We're going to lift the pelvis and then lower back down. If you're not quite at that level, don't lift the pelvis yet, because I don't want you putting too much pressure through the shoulder. But if you feel you can and you're drawing really tight through those abdominals, through the waist, and you feel you can lift up onto the knees and then lower back down, control it. We do two more. Breathe in, come all the way up. Lift and then place back down again. Whew, we're working. There we go. Breathe in, lift and breathe out as you come back down. Fantastic. Let's take you off of that arm so we don't overwork it. Pop it down as a pillow and we'll just come into this position here. Let's keep the bottom knee bent and the top leg go straight. So we're lengthening out through the spine here. Imagine your back's against the wall. Your shoulders need to be placed on top of each other. Your hips get placed on top of each other. We still need that engagement through the waist. So you're lifting your spine up from the mat. It may feel like it's not actually going anywhere, but get that sort of feeling that you're lifting your waist up from the mat. And at the same time, as you lift your waist up, imagine your top legs either getting pulled towards the wall or you're lengthening that top leg, which will help you lift the waist. Okay, from here, we're going to breathe out, lift the leg up. Breathe in, lower it back down again. Now concentrate on your waist. You're not allowing your waist to go down as the leg lifts up. Good. Breathe out, lift. Breathe in as you lower back down. Fantastic. Good. Breathe out, lift. Breathe in, lower back down. Fantastic. So this is just a prep move, just to get that feeling of the waist lifting. There we go. Keep lifting as you draw it up, and then keep it up as you lower the leg down. Two more with the leg. There we go. And lift. Okay, let that leg just relax down. Okay, we're going to go into a cycling move, which I think we've done before. So we're going to do a cycling move with this leg. What you will do is you're going to lift the leg up to hip width. So it's hovering above the mat, the same distance as your hip. We're going to get you to bend the knee as the leg comes forward. Straighten it out to lengthen. Sweep the leg all the way back. Now take it back past neutral, squeeze your bottom as it goes back, and then from there you bend the knee. So now you're getting the stretch through the front of your quads as you sweep your leg through. You sweep it through bent, lengthen it out straight, sweep it round straight as you take it back, take it past neutral. Don't let the hip roll back. That's where we've got to work through the pelvis for the stability. Squeeze through your glutes as you take your leg back. Keep your hip back and bend the knee. That's where you're going to get the stretch through your quads. And then sweep it forwards. Leg comes forwards. Lengthen. Straighten the leg out. Sweep it back. Keep your hips stacked on top. This is where it gets a little bit tricky for the pelvis. Squeeze your glutes. It's not going to go so far back. People get mistaken with this one. They try to go too far back, and that's when you roll your pelvis. Just get it so your bottom's squeezing. Keep your bottom squeezed. Bend the knee so that your heel's coming up towards your bottom. There you'll feel the stretch through your quads. And then we sweep it forwards. Keep that going. Lengthen the leg out. Sweep it round. Squeeze through your glutes. Bend the knee, take your heel back. Draw it forwards. There we go. Stretch. Lengthen. Squeeze through the glutes. Take it back. Keep your glutes activated. Bend the knee. Feel the stretch. There we go. Get a little bit more movement through the hip. Keep it going. Try not to let the foot drop too far towards the floor. If it's getting tired, take a break, reset and re-prep. Just focus on keeping the hips stacked on top of each other. Sweep that leg through. There we go. Don't worry too much what the leg's doing. Just make sure your hips stay on top of each other. And that top hip's not rolling forwards or backwards. There's going to be a little bit of movement, that's fine, but we don't want any sort of dropping forwards or rolling back. There we go. Let's do 2 more circles with the leg. Squeeze it. That's it. Take it forwards. Lengthen and sweep it all the way back. There we go. Last one. Squeeze it. Bend the knee so you get that stretch through your quads, and just let that leg drop in front of you. Give your glutes a little bit of a rub. Bring them back to life. There we go. And when you're ready, we're flipping over onto the other side. So swing yourself over. And remember, we're up onto the elbow first of all. So get that elbow directly underneath your shoulder. Okay. Make sure it's not taken too. It's not put too far away, because otherwise you're going to end up putting the strain too far through your shoulder. You want to keep it in its strongest position, so it's elbows directly underneath your shoulder. Push your hips forward, so we're creating that straight line through the spine. We're not sort of sinking in the middle. Lift open through the chest. Okay, now remember, it's this muscle, so it's this waist muscle here and here that we're working. Imagine you've got that rope attached around your lower part of your ribs, and imagine someone's pulling it, and as they pull it up, that knot's getting tighter around your waist. So you're lifting and then lowering it back down again. Let it release. You're not coming all the way down. Just squeeze, lift. It's not coming through your hips, it's not coming through your arms, it's coming through that whole connection through your abdominals and through these oblique muscles through the side there. So squeeze and lift and release, drop down. Good. Squeeze and lift and release, drop down. Good. Squeeze, lift and release back down. Watch you're not putting any pressure through your arms. Bring the top arm in if you want to. Comes up and over. That can just help you just raise the ribs, and sometimes that really helps to get that movement through here, and you might just get that muscle switched on a little bit better. If at any point your shoulder's starting to hurt, come off and just lower yourself down. If you feel strong through here, see if you can use your waist muscles to keep drawing you up onto your knees and then lower back down. Just watch how much pressure is going through your arm. Don't put yourself into any pain or strain through your neck or your shoulder as you're doing this. There we go. We've got 2 more like this. Breathe in, come up. Lift and breathe out, come down. There we go. Breathe in, last one. Lift. Nice and strong through the waist. There we go. Let it come down. Whew. Pop that arm down. Let your spine relax down. Take that tension out your arm. Super. Okay, so we're getting ourselves lined up on our side now. So think about your shoulders being stacked on top of each other, hips stacked on top of each other. Lengthen that top leg away so that you are using that top leg just to lift your waist up from the mat. Get that sensation that the waist is lifting. We're connecting through our abdominals, so deep core muscles switched on. Draw your tummy button towards your spine, and we'll switch on through the pelvis. We're going to breathe out as you lift your leg up. And breathe in as it comes back down. Remember, our connection is through our waist. So breathe out, lift the waist. Keep the lift waisted. The waist lifted as you lower your leg back down again. Breathe out, lift, leg, lift, waist. And then lower the leg down. Keep your waist lifted. There we go. You can pop this top arm wherever you feel comfortable. It can go onto the mat in front of you. or you can rest it onto your side, but keep thinking through the waist. Lift. There we go. Try and take the tension out your calf muscle and out your foot. So the work's all happening through the hip. There we go. We're lifting and lowering. Fantastic. Lift and lower. Last one. And let the leg rest down. Okay, so we're going through our bicycle move now. So remember, when we lift the leg now, it's going to come to hip width. From there, we are bending the knee. Draw the leg forwards, but don't let your hip roll forwards with you. Keep that hip stacked on top of each other. Straighten the leg out so it's gone forwards. Sweep the heel round, keeping the leg straight. Control it slowly so that the hips don't roll. Squeeze your bottom at the back and then bend the knee. So we're getting that extra stretch through your quads. Feels quite nice. And then draw the knee forwards. Rotate it through. Keep that balance of the hips so that your hips are not rolled. Lengthen the leg. Sweep it through, squeeze with your glutes. Keep concentrating on the hip position. It's not about what your knee's doing or how big a circle you're drawing with your legs. All I want you to concentrate on is how you're keeping your hips stacked on top of each other. That's it. Squeeze through, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Bend the knee at the back so you get the stretch through the quads. Circle it through. Lengthen that leg. There we go, sweep it through. Watch your heel and your ankle are staying the same distance away from the mat the whole way through. So you're not tempted just to drop your foot down towards the mat. There we go, stretch, lengthen, squeeze your bottom, bend the knee so that stretch is coming through the front of your thigh. Slide it through, lengthen. There we go, really stretch through there. Squeeze, bend the knee. And draw it through. Let's do 2 more circles with this leg. Let's try and just really get as big a circle as we can now. Really focusing on the pelvis. Get a squeeze in your glutes. Bend the knee as it comes back. Sweep the leg through. Here we go. Last one. Circle it round. Squeeze. Bend the knee. Draw it forwards. Whew. Now you can pop it down. Give that muscle a little bit of a stretch. Fantastic. There we go. Bring some life back into the glutes there. Okay, we're going to pop you over onto your fronts. So from here, we're going to put arms. Let's have arms out at 90 degrees so they're in this position. I'm going to talk to you like this, but your forehead is going to go down onto the mat. Remembering neutral position, which I'll talk you through in a second. I'll show you the exercise that we're going to do. We are literally, just move my top. We're literally going to be focusing through this upper part of the spine here. As we breathe out, you're lifting. Your head, your chin, your eyes stay looking down towards the mat. Don't be tempted to lift up here. This puts all the strain through the back of your neck. So your eyes and head need to stay looking down towards the mat. Some of you are only going to be able to lift up just so you're taking your nose off the mat. Others may be able to lift a little bit higher. But what I want you to concentrate on and try and feel where the movement's happening, because we need to focus the pivot to be around the mid part of your upper back and not through the low back at all. So imagine you've got a corset around your low back. That bit is holding your spine completely tight. So let's get you set up first of all. Forehead goes down onto the mat. Push your pubic bone down into the mat and lift your tummy button up at the same time. This way we're trying to create that corset around the spine, but you're creating that nice control through the low back, and we're just trying to lock all of the movement out of there. Okay, when you're ready, you breathe out as you lift your head up and breathe in as you place it back down again. Really focus on where the movement's happening. It needs to happen in the upper part of your back and not try and slip down into the middle or the low part of your back. Breathe out to come up. Breathe in to go back down. Good. Breathe out as you come up. And breathe in as you come back down. 2 more. Breathe out to come up. Breathe in, come back down. Breathe out. And breathe in. This time let your head stay down onto the mat. So your forehead's going to stay on the mat. We're going to just focus with the arms. So your arms are going to come about 1 millimeter away from the mat. You're going to lift them up. You're going to do a nice breath in as you take both arms up, and a breath out as you draw your arms down towards your side. Bring your elbows in, Breathe in, stretch. Breathe out, draw your arms down. Don't lift them too high. They are literally just floating above your floor. That's it, good. Keep the rest of your spine in a neutral position. So you're pushing your pubic bone down towards the mat, lifting up through your tummy button. Forehead and nose are on the mat. Okay, good. Breathe in, stretch through. Breathe out, draw them in. Work your shoulder blades into your back pockets. Good. Breathe in, lengthen. Breathe out, draw down, slide your shoulder blades down. Good. Breathe in, stretch. And breathe out. Draw your arms down. Good. Breathe in, stretch. And breathe out. Shoulders down. 2 more. Breathe in, stretch. And breathe out. Draw them back. Fantastic. Okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to see if we can put it together, but I need you to be really cautious of what happens through your low back, because I'll show you the exercise. So we're going to lift up through the, lift the nose and the head off of the mat. So we're just pivoting in this upper part here. And then from here, the arms are going to work. So our abs are going to switch on a little bit more. If you lift up too high like this, or come too far, start to lift the head, you're going to bring all the tension down into your low back, and that's not the aim of the exercise. So don't be tempted to come too far up with this exercise. If all you're doing is just lifting your nose off the mat, that's fine, because you're going to know the muscles are working, believe me. Okay, so let's give it a go. Start with the head position. So just lift the head off the mat. Lift your forehead, lift your nose, slide your shoulder blades into your back pocket, so we're stabilizing through there, and draw your tummy button up nice and tightly in towards the spine, so we're holding that position. Good. Now from here, lift the arms so they're floating above the mat. Now you can feel your abs switching on. Even just lifting the arms is enough. So you may find that just lifting and lowering here is enough just to work through the abs, but if you want a bit more, lengthen and draw them back. Squeeze them down. Lengthen them away, draw them back, squeeze them down. Think about lengthening your neck as you draw your elbows into your side. That's it, good. Breathe in, stretch. Breathe out, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Breathe in, stretch. Breathe out, draw them together. Fantastic. Breathe in, stretch. Breathe out, draw them down. Let's do 2 more. Make sure that movement's still the upper part of your back. Lift through your waist, lift through your tummy button. Push your pubic bone down into the mat. All working through the shoulders. Let your arms relax. Let your head relax. There we go. Just take a few breaths here and just try and get that movement through your spine so that you're not holding any tension through there. So take a nice deep breath in. Really feel the ribs opening. Breathe in. And breathe out. Fantastic. 1 more. Perfect. Let's stay on your front if you're comfortable to do that. Hands can go out to the side, or they can stay by your side, palms facing up. Go wherever you're comfortable. But I'm going to get you to bend your knees so that your soles of your feet go up towards the ceiling. You're going to keep your forehead on the mat looking down. I'm just going to face this way so you can hear me, okay? So the exercise we're going to do is draw in with your tummy button again. Think about your pelvis being nice and steady so that you're not rocking and rolling through the pelvis. And it is squeeze your bottom, lift one knee up, place it back down. Squeeze your bottom the other side, lift and place back down again. Okay. It doesn't lift very high. You cannot extend your hip without rolling, lifting it too far. All you're going to be able to do is just like a hover off the mat. And again, the other side, a little hover off the mat. Okay. So if you push too far, you're going to arch through your back and you'll start rolling through the pelvis. So think about the pelvis being nice and level. Imagine you've got a tray of drinks sitting over the top of your hips. There we go. Breathe out. Lift one hip up. Breathe in, place it back down again. Breathe out, other side. Lift and release. Squeeze and lift. And lower. Squeeze and lift. When you're ready, squeeze. Try and keep the pelvis nice and strong. So really draw in nice and tight with your tummy. Keep that sort of core connection. Try not to roll through the hips. It is really tricky because the hip does not like to do too much extension. Do a couple more each side. Squeeze and lift. Probably feel quite a difference one side to the other. I know I definitely can. There we go. It's getting a little bit easier the more I'm doing it. One more on each side. There we go. Fantastic. And let the legs relax down. Just release your legs, just circle them or rock them in and out and release through. Let's bring you up. If you're okay on your knees, just sit yourself back onto your heels and have a little stretch out through there. There we go. Keep breathing, just take that tension out through your low back. If your knees don't like you sitting all the way back, you can come up and do some cat-cow stretches just to release through your back if you need to. Well, that feels quite nice. So just do whichever of those stretches you feel you need at the moment, where we've done all of that line on your tummy. There we go, a couple more. Fantastic. Okay. Finish up those stretches. We're going to get you to sitting now. Yeah, we've got time to work your abs a little bit more. Let's go into sitting here. Legs out forward, sitting up nice and tall onto your sit bones, shoulders bound into back pockets. And all we're going to do from here is just breathe in, lift your arms up towards the ceiling, and breathe out as you let your arms come down. Good. Breathe in, arms go up. And breathe out, arms go down. There we go. Just working through the shoulders. Keep the rest of the spine nice and straight. And just control that movement. Watch you don't end up doing this. Okay, that's coming. Not yet. Lift through the arms. Release back down. Here we go. Breathe in, lift up. And breathe out, come down. Breathe in, lift up. This time, bring your arms so they're coming back to sort of eye level in front of you. And we're going to work through the pelvis. So we go from sitting up tall. Draw your tummy button in towards your spine and just come off your sit bone and place that low part of your back on towards the mat. And then roll back up again. Lift. Come right up to sitting tall. Breathe out as you come down. Breathe in as you come back up. Lift. Breathe out. Rotate down. There we go. Breathe in and lift. Really getting that movement going through the low back. You might find yourself just getting a little bit lower down each time. You're going to know your abs are going to start to switch in, which is good. That's fine. Don't take yourself too far that you're having to work too hard to come back up. Remember, gravity plays a role here. What goes down must come back up again, and it's easy to go down, but your abs are going to have to work to bring you back up. Okay, good. Now, here's where the work really happens. As you take yourself down, we're going to do a lift. Oh, that works the abs. Draw the arms down as you come back up again. So this is why I say don't go too far down. If you've gone too far down, you're not going to be able to lift your arms up. So let's just go a little way off the sit bones and test with the arms. If that feels okay, next time we can go a little bit further down. A little bit further. Then lift the arms. Keep the chest lifted. Try not to collapse through the spine. Whew. Getting a little bit of a sweat on here. Here we go. Lift. Maybe it's just my room that's warm. Here we go. Lower down. Lift it. Oh, yes. Lift the arms up. Come back up. Two more. Rock off your hips. Lift. Keep the chest lifted. There we go. And come back up. Last one. Lower yourself down. Lift. There we go. And come back up. Whew, nice. Here we go. Let's have a little bit of a stretch out. If you can get your legs into this position, let's have your legs here. If you can't get into this position, you can either do it with your legs crossed. You might even be able to do it coming up onto your knees, but let's have a go from this position first of all. Leg that's tucked behind you goes up high, other hand comes down to the side. Let's just stretch through the side. So lift the arm, lift the ribs, and then tilt yourself over if you can. And then as you come back, lower the ribs down as the arm comes back up. There we go. Take the arm over, push the ribs up towards the sky, and then release back. Good. So we're just getting that pure side bending movement first. Now, if you want to take it into more of a stretch, the arm that's on the mat will bend. So your elbow comes down towards the floor, and then you can push through your hand to come back up. That's it. Lengthen the arm over, bend the bottom elbow, stretch, come back up. Fantastic. Elbow bend, lengthen, and lift. There we go. Stretch, bend the elbow, Here we go. Now we're going to get the rotation through the spine as well. So this time, as your arm comes over, twist your shoulders so they're facing towards the edge of the mat and stretch your arm over as far as you can go. So you'll feel that stretch, lovely, through your shoulders, through the spine, and come back up, twist back to the front. Good. Breathe out, blow that hand away. Rotate your shoulders, rotate through the spine, and draw back up. Good, there we go. Rotate and stretch, and lift. Good, 2 more on this side. Breathe out, lengthen. Breathe in, come back up. Good. Breathe out, lengthen. And breathe in, come back up. Fantastic. Let's take your legs round onto the other side if you can. Tuck yourself round. So, leg that's tucked behind you, arm goes up, leg in front of you, hand comes down onto the mat. We're doing this, just the side bending first of all. So stretch that arm up, lift the ribs up towards the ceiling, and just get that side bending movement first of all. That's enough just to start engaging through the ribs. So breathe out as you stretch, breathe in as you come back up. Breathe out, stretch and bend. Breathe in, come back up. There we go, a couple more, stretch and bend. Good. Perfect. Now we're going to allow the bottom arm on the mat to bend as well. So as you stretch, bend that bottom elbow so you get a bit further over and push through your hand as you come back up. There we go. Bend the elbow, stretch, stretch and come back up. Reach, bend the elbow. Stretch as you come back up. Good. Fantastic. And now we can start to add the twist in when you're ready. So as you go over, rotate the shoulders, reach towards the end of your mat, stretch, breathe in as you come back up. Good. Breathe out, stretch. Breathe in, come back up. Fantastic. Breathe out, stretch. And breathe in, come back up. Good. Breathe out, stretch. Breathe in, come back up. One more. Breathe out and stretch. And breathe in, come back up. Fantastic. Let's get you all the way, take you over onto all fours again. Let's do another draw the hips under, push up. It should feel a little bit easier than we did it a second ago. And tilt the hips under. There we go. Tuck under and push up. Nice breath in. Breathe out as you come round. Good. Breathe in, tuck under, push up. And breathe out as you sink round. Let's just do 2 more. Breathe in, tuck under, push your spine up. And breathe out. Good. Breathe in. Last one. Really push up. And breathe out as you come back to center. Fantastic. Tuck your heels under, push your spine up. Just take your weight back into your heels. Feel the stretch through your calf muscles. Really push through your hands, really push into your heels. Feel that stretch. And when you're ready, walk your feet in towards the center, hands in towards the center. We're at the bottom of our roll down, so we're going to start to peel up. Squeeze your hips under, tuck your hips under, get your hips on top of your knees and roll up through the spine one by one and control that movement as you come all the way up to the top. Let's do a few more roll downs just to work through the spine. I'll show you from the side. Feet are hip width apart. Get that weight evenly distributed between your feet so you're not too far onto your toes or not too far onto your heels. Imagine you've been lengthened up towards the ceiling. Chin comes down towards your chest. Doesn't touch your chest. As it starts to go forwards even more, roll through the upper part of your back. Roll through the middle part of your back. And feel that movement coming all the way through. Do not let your bottom stick out. So this is not allowed to happen until you've moved that last vertebra in your back, the last one you can feel you could possibly move, and then the hips tilt forward. So let your center of gravity go forwards and rotate down towards the floor. There we go, super. And then on the way back up, straighten through the legs. Make sure the knees are straight but not locked. Tuck straight in with the hips, so you'll get your hips over the top of your knees and roll your way up through the spine one by one. Shoulders round into back pockets and stand up nice and tall. Here we go, one more roll down, chin towards your chest. Roll it forward, so move nice and gently through the upper part of the back. Keep your bottom tucked under as you go through the middle part of your back. Keep your bottom tucked under, really focus into that low part of your back. When you've got that last vertebra to move and you feel you can't go forwards anymore, then the hips can start to rotate. Try not to stick your bottom too far back. Keep your hands close to your legs and you rotate down. And we've got the hands as low down as we can. And straight away, we're coming back up. Push through your feet. Lengthen through the knees. Make sure they don't lock back. Get your hips tucked under. Work through the low back. Really think about each bone moving through the middle part, through the upper part, shoulders round the back pockets as you come up nice and tall. And from here, keep moving through the arms. Draw the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Now we're going to do a stretch through your hamstrings. So when your arms are up nice and tall, from here, we're going to allow the hips to go back now. So you're going to draw your hips back and straighten your arms forward. So we're creating that lengthen through the spine. Try not to put too much pressure on your knees. Keep them a little bit soft and breathe in as you come back up. There we go. So you should feel a nice stretch through your hamstrings. Breathe out. Stick your bottom back. Lengthen through the backs of your legs. Stretch through your arms. And breathe in as you come back up. Good. Breathe out. Stretch your hips back. Stretch. Reach. Breathe in. Come back up. Good. Breathe out. Stretch your hips back. So if you can see from the picture there, my hips are not over the top of my knees. I'm actually sticking my bottom quite far, as far back as I can, as far back as my hamstrings will let me, which hopefully looks like it's sticking back because my hamstrings are really tight still. You'd think all of this extra Pilates in lockdown would really lengthen, but we're getting there. There we go. 2 more. Stretch back, lengthen, breathe in, come all the way up and let your arms just relax down by your side. Let's take your arms both up. Take hold of one wrist with your hand and you're going to draw it over. So the hand that's grabbing onto the wrist, that's the hand that's working and you're pulling your arm over your side. Watch as you do this that you don't start to lean forwards to it. Keep yourself in that midline plane so that you are, imagine you're trapped between two walls. That's it, good. Take that stretch over, come back up to center, swap the hands around, grab hold of the other wrist, take that arm over, really stretch through your side, super. And come back up to center. Let's do one more each side, lift, stretch, reach over, and come back to center. Swap the hands around, draw that arm over, and really stretch. Perfect, come back to the center. Let your arms relax, just circle your shoulders. Try and take that tension out of your arms. Just let them sort of hang by your side, nice and relaxed. Just circle the shoulders, take that tension out. Imagine your arms are nice and floaty, heavy, whatever feels right. Just take the tension out of your arms. Nice breath in. And breathe out as you come down. Good, breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out slowly. Onto tiptoes this time. Breathe in, come all the way up. And breathe out, come down. Breathe in, come up. Breathe out, control it as your feet come down. Don't just let them plonk. There we go. Breathe in, come up. Control through your ankles as you come down. Into a squat and hug through your shoulders. So we breathe in, come up. As you breathe out, bend your knees, arms come around, give yourself a hug so you'll feel that stretch through your shoulder blades. Breathe in, push through the legs, come all the way up to tall. That's it, breathe out, bend the knees, heels come down, give yourself a hug. You should feel the stretch through your shoulders as you do this one. There we go, breathe in, come up. Last one, breathe out, arms come down, hug through your shoulders. Oh, that's good. And let yourself come back up. Well done, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. And hopefully I'll see you on the next one. We've got stretch and release tomorrow night. And then we've got Pilates Pilates on Sunday night at 7 o'clock. So hopefully I'll see you then.